Brandon and a song called Evening Shadow. And further to what the boss, George Howard, was saying...
In about a fortnight's time, you'll be offered your first Christmas draw tickets, and they'll come in a torrent. Music centres, turkeys, hampers, a weekend in Paris for two. It seems a shame you can't win a £34 telly licence, but on the other hand, you needn't shell it out all at once. You can now get 50p licence stamps, a more painless way of getting your licence. Certainly less painful than not buying one at all. That can cost anything up to £200, and you've still got the problem of buying a licence. It all boils down to not much more than a pint of lager a week. What's that? Your teetotal. Well, you can afford the stamps then.
Well now, next I shall be talking to a man who was literally hanged this afternoon in Belfast. But this is Neil Diamond before that. This comes from his film The Jazz Singer, which is due to be released over here in the new year, and it's called Love on the Rocks.
Love on the rocks ain't no surprise.
He always makes classy records, you've got to give him that. Neil Diamond and his new single, which is called Love on the Rocks. Well now, what's all this about a chap being hanged in Belfast? Australia's outlaw hero Ned Kelly was hanged 100 years ago tomorrow in Melbourne jail, having been captured in a showdown. There was a shootout at Glen Rowan Station in Victoria. Aha, you'll be saying, how were they beaten in a shootout when they wore those extraordinary suits of armour and that sort of bucket thing on their heads? Well, apparently, those only came down to their knees, and so the police shot at their legs, and Ned Kelly got 27 holes in his legs. Well, it so happens that hanging was recreated in Belfast today by a sort of repertory company of members of the Ned Kelly Historical Society that was formed in Belfast last year. And on the line I've got the man who played Ned Kelly and survived, I presume, otherwise he wouldn't be talking to me now, Robert Hanvey. Did you have some sort of harness round your torso, Robert?
We had a harness on that we got from the Northern Ireland Mountain Rescue Team. And this was rigged up to me along with the rope when I went through the trapdoor with very little problem.
But were you worried beforehand? I would have been.
I was very worried, but I had half a bottle of poaching in me. And with half a bottle of that stuff in you could go through hell, never mind through a trapdoor.
How did you all get so interested in Ned Kelly? Tell me.
Well, the main reason we got interested in Kelly was when we saw the Tony Richardson film with Mick Jagger. And when we saw that film, we started reading about transportation and convicts and all the rest of it, and we became very interested in it. And about a year ago, we started the Ned Kelly Historical Society. So that's basically it, you know.
And do you research other people who were transported over there? Ned Kelly wasn't actually Irish, though, was he?
No, his father was transported from Tipperary for stealing 2 pigs, and his mother's people were from outside Belfast.
Yeah.
And we think the law was very rough at that time, and that's why we wrote to the Queen for a pardon.
Have you really?
Why?
Have you had a reply yet?
No, well, she's away on holidays, I think.
Do you think you're likely to get a reply, a favourable one from your point of view?
Well, I think she's bound to have to write back, because I understand that if she's on holiday, she mightn't have got the letter yet, but when she comes back and opens the mail, I'd say, well, we've a good chance of getting an answer from her, eh?
Why do you think he was wrong, though? Why do you think it was an unjustified hanging?
Well, because his father was unjustly transported to Van Diemen's Land for stealing 2 pigs. And only he was transported out there and got married and had Ned born by the mother. Ned was born out there. Only he was transported in the first place. Ned wouldn't have been born out there and become an outlaw.
But nonetheless, the things that he did surely made him an outlaw, and therefore the hanging was justified.
Well, you've got a point there. He killed a couple of policemen and he robbed a few banks and stole a few 100 head of horses. But sure, if you did that here in Northern Ireland nowadays, you would get a social worker and a probation officer, and the judge would probably cry. I think it was very unjust in those days.
You do you? Well, I'm not sure I agree with you. Anyway, Robert, I'm glad that you're safe and in one piece. Thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure talking to you, John.
OK, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
That was Robert Hanvey on the line from Belfast. He's actually a folk song historian by way of trade or profession, but he's also Ned Kelly in his spare time. Going to end with a beautiful song, Bewitched, Bothered and Bewildered, and this is the version by Sian Phillips. Brief weather note, a bit of fog in low-lying areas over the night and the probability of frost in most places, so if you're driving tonight, take care. That's all, till tomorrow, good night. Research John Mackay, producer and editor Laurie Monk.